This is Bali, the single most popular island in Indonesia's tourism scene. It's known for its natural beauty, its vast array of wildlife, and its long list of outdoor activities, such as hiking volcanoes. But what makes Bali truly unique is its culture. And the best way to learn about that culture is by visiting its very unique Hindu temples. Now there's about, like I said, 250 million people that live in Indonesia. About 3% of that is Hindu. So you're probably thinking that's a very small minority. Well, out of 250 million people, that's still 8 million Hindus living in Indonesia, and most of them do live right here in Bali and the neighboring areas. There's literally hundreds of Hindu temples all over the island, but the tourism industry focuses on these 5. And due to logistics, we're going to start with this one towards the southern tip, Uluwatu. I'm reporting to you from the first of many Hindu temples throughout the island. This is Uluwatu. This thing is a little overrated is because the actual temple itself, that's kind of what I'm sticking my hand through the gate for, that is actually closed to the public. It's only for worshipers. So, you see it in a lot of catalogs and brochures and everything for Indonesia, but you actually are kind of limited to the outside walkways. Now, this is what sets this temple apart from the other ones that I wanted to bring you. It is right on the ocean. That, by the way, is what the actual temple itself looks like. So that's what they actually, show you on a lot of, advertisements, catalogs, all that kind of stuff right there. Another thing I want to make a mention of for all of these temples is, in order to actually enter the temple grounds, everybody has to put on this thing called a sarong. So everybody's wearing one. You can see I'm wearing one. I will say I look very, very fly in this thing. To wear this thing to the bar, pick up lots of girls that way. I would later learn that portions of the temple grounds being open only to worshippers is actually very common. And that's okay. These temples are places of worship first, and tourism attractions second. But some temples have bigger portions open to the public than others. Anyway, the next day, we would rent scooters from a local shop in Kuta before heading up north and east to check out 3 more of these temples. But not before checking out the very picturesque Tegenungan Waterfall. And also the Tirta Gangaa Water Palace. By the way, these inserts were taken from Snapchat, so my apologies, they're vertical. However, on our way from Tirta Gangaa Water Palace to our next temple, Pura Lempoyang, something happened that would completely change the course of our visit to Bali. Yep, I'm in a hospital. What happened was we all rented scooters, as I mentioned in my last clip. And on our way from Tirta Gangaa Water Palace to Pura Lempoyang, we went down a very steep hill. What are we doing?
Drink your fixation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, might as well keep filming. So yeah, we went down a very steep hill and a hairpin turn back to back, and the way you run a scooter is you use the right handle to accelerate, and you use the left brake to brake, and that's like the back brake. And then the right hand is the front brake. It's the exact opposite as it is on a regular bike that you ride in the States. So all I hit was the back brake, and I couldn't get away from the edge, and I hit a post that kind of served as a guardrail and went flying into the ditch. I gashed my left shin. They just had to give me 3 stitches, and I just learned that I have a broken pinky. If I wasn't wearing a helmet, I would have died. And of course, if you're gonna do something like ride a scooter, wear a damn helmet. I can guarantee you.
Okay, finished.
We're finished? Okay, well,
This is your
that's my
passport.
right hand.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, please waiting.
Hey. Cassie. Okay. So I might not be able to ride a bike. Oh, man. So yeah, that made for a long and unplanned night in the coastal town of Candidasa. But the next morning, with the help of a local tour guide, we were able to pick up right where we left off, at Pura Lempoyang. And later on that afternoon at the Besakih Temple, resumed my filming. Surprise! This, my friends, is the Besakih Temple. This is one of many temples throughout Bali, and it is the single most significant, most important. It's the biggest temple complex on the entire island, and it's also the most visited as well. So, I would also definitely say it's the most worth it and the most scenic. So, this is kind of what it looks like. Like I said, it is a little hazy today. We haven't really had the best luck this trip in terms of, you know, the weather, you know, giving us, you know, the best views. But here we have it. So there's actually about 60 of these temples all throughout the grounds. And let me see if I can show you at some point a cremation ceremony, because they have been having them all over. They had them here, they had them at Pura Lempoyang. Alright, let's make our way over here. You'll see a lot of those not doing as good a job zooming in with a busted hand, but see a lot of people carrying a bunch of offerings. And this is what those pilgrimages look like. Now, in India, where Hinduism is obviously the predominant religion, it's very popular to try to get a body to Varanasi for cremation. But in Bali, that's not so much the case. Come on. Okay, good, they're right behind me. And there's the Mata Temple right up there at the top, which go ahead and show you. And they say that all the different colors that you see here, you know, the white, the black, the red, and the yellow, like on the bandanas here, They all represent the different elements of like fire, earth, water, and wind for Hinduism. Now, interestingly enough, because it's on the side of a volcano, you're gonna see that a lot of the rock is black. That's actually basalt. And that's what a lot of these temples look like. And there's, like I said, tons of these scattered throughout the temple grounds. So you can tell that these people are trying to take a lot of photos, so I'll get out of their way.
The Besakih Temple and Pura Lempoyang actually ended up being my two favorites on the island. And they only close off small portions of the temple grounds, specifically when ceremonies are taking place, leaving much more room for the exploration of foreign visitors. And I'm gonna have to admit, the sarong did a pretty good job of covering up my road rash. Also, make sure to watch other videos and blogs on the Besakih Temple so you can see what this place looks like on a good day.
See, when the sun sets, you know, that's the west right over there. So this would be a really, really, really picturesque view, but there you have it.
Sadly, because of my accident, we had to cut out one of the temples and had to get back to Kuta, where the airport is. But that didn't stop us from seeing one more.
Here we are at Tanah Lot.
And it all starts off with seeing the holy snake, who is said to protect the temple grounds, according to ancient mythology.
Here you gotta pay attention to the tides. Oh, nice. We're gonna get to walk across. This is awesome. So you gotta pay attention to the tides. Because, you know, obviously there's high tide and then there's low tide. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, during high tide, this whole area will actually be, you know, flooded, and you will actually have to wade through the water to get to the other side, which I obviously can't do with stitches in my leg, but okay, this is what I need. Here come the waves coming in, and it's gonna basically flood this whole area. But
unlike the other temples, you as a tourist don't need to wear a sarong here. But you do need to get a local blessing at the cold spring when you first set foot on the island, as well as make a small donation.
Kasi. Now, the actual temple grounds, they are only open to worshipers. So, I mean, that's how you kind of get to that that structure up there. Unfortunately, they are not open to visitors. So, alright, so I'm gonna basically finish up right here. And I'm just gonna say, you know, this does, like I said, conclude my Indonesian coverage for this trip. And, you know, I could not think of a better way after having a very eventful trip to Bali to, you know, kind of go out with a bang. It is, don't let, you know, the other things that I mentioned during my clips fool you. Indonesia is a great, fantastic, beautiful country, and, you know, that is even after the whole Komodo thing, even after the bike crash and after everything, I would still put Indonesia at, you know, I would say rivals Sri Lanka as, you know, my favorite country that I've ever visited.
So that, my friends, is Bali. Actually, no, it's only a small slice of Bali. I can recommend so many more things to experience on the island, such as the sacred monkey forest in Ubud, Balinese dance performances, and if your religious views allow it, it's mouth-watering cuisine. To summarize, I'm going to give you 2 key recommendations should you choose to come here. First, budget double the time. There seems to be a Kodak moment everywhere you look. Plus, so many attractions on the island are so mesmerizing that it's easy to spend a lot more time there than you planned. Let's not forget that island time is a thing. Plus, traffic jams are frequent on the island. Additionally, do not rent scooters. The average year sees about 12,000 reported cases of accidents involving motorbikes, and those are just the ones that are reported, and they carry about a 10% fatality rate. So really, in comparison, I was extremely lucky with my situation. Everything on Bali, or anywhere in Southeast Asia for that matter, is cheap. And plenty of guides are available on the spot, even at the last minute, to take you pretty much anywhere on the island you want to go, for a very affordable price. This is true in Kuta, Ubud, and even Kandidasa, where we had to spend the night after my accident. It's a lot safer and gives you one less thing to worry about on what is meant to be a vacation, or possibly even your honeymoon. So do yourself a favor and put Bali on your bucket list and experience it for what it really is. Paradise on Earth. Your passport will thank you.
So, I gotta get back to the group before I get yelled at, which I'm probably gonna get anyway. So, of course, you know, thank you once again. Tune in tomorrow for my next destination country. And thank you for watching. Om Shanti Shanti. I'll see you then.